Dear friend to Turning Point USA and Charlie, he will be greatly missed. So I'm sorry, I just feel like the most obvious explanation here is actually not far-fetched at all, and there's literally zero reason to be pushing or promoting a conspiracy theory. Check. For our media story today, we're going to take a look at the latest viral conspiracy theory surrounding Charlie Kirk, who of course was horrifically killed, and it spawned this whole never-ending cycle of conspiracies and defamatory accusations and monetization of it all, of course. And this one is really strange because I feel like we've forgotten Occam's razor, which is kind of where I start on conspiracy theories. It's like, I'm not here telling you I'll never believe any conspiracy, but it's like, if you make an extraordinary claim, the burden is on you to prove it and to kind of provide some extraordinary evidence, because in absence of that, we should probably assume that like the most obvious and logical reason something happened is probably why it happened, and only some sort of shadowy conspiracy when there's actually reason to suggest it. But it seems, especially online and especially with a certain kind of political commentator, the tables have flipped, and it's like they start by leaping to the conspiracy, and then you have to persuade them back to like the most obvious cause of something, and that to me is backwards. So this example comes courtesy of the Young Turks host and I think founder, a left-wing commentator, Cenk Uygur. The Young Turks' Cenk Uygur basically suggested that there might be more to the death of a 76-year-old mentor to Charlie Kirk than meets the eye on Monday. He suspects foul play in the death of Kirk mentor Jeff Webb. Charlie Kirk's mentor just died in a freak pickleball accident. That's an incredibly strange coincidence, submitted Uygur on Monday. If you're going to say that's not weird, that there are tons of pickleball fatalities, you sound nuts. I don't know what happened, but I don't think this is perfectly normal. So I think you get the idea here. He is just asking questions and suggesting that something malicious or shady may have happened involving the death of this elderly man who was a mentor to Charlie Kirk, who it's reported fell and hit his head and died as a result of playing pickleball. And it's just interesting to me because that seems like the kind of thing that would be pretty easy to confirm. Presumably, one does not play pickleball by themselves. They play it surrounded by other people. And it's just not that crazy to me to think that I was reading about this, and apparently thousands of people are showing up at the emergency room with injuries obtained playing pickleball. And if you're a much older guy, I mean, 76 is not a spring chicken. Old people die from falling not irregularly. And if you're especially if you're playing a sport and you're fragile and you fall and you hit your head, it's like, it's really sad. My heart goes out to his family. And but the idea that like, oh, that's just unbelievable. Pickleball deaths, pickleball fatalities. I don't know. It just feels like you're really leaping and stretching when actually that's not that crazy when you think about it. To me, at least, it's not. And he replied, and he's also like, he's doing the thing where he's like just asking questions. To me, it's very clear Cenk, who millions of people follow for news and analysis, was suggesting foul play here, was suggesting something nefarious. He wasn't just wondering out loud. It's like you know what you're suggesting, and you know you're going to farm engagement and people are going to engage with it. And so don't like later play coy and be like, I was just asking questions, I never said anything. You obviously are when you're saying things like that. And somebody else replied, just remember it was something like 25 character witnesses died within 3 years of JFK getting assassinated, to which Cenk replied and said, no one should question those either. I heard half of them were in badminton tragedies, but people are saying that's also perfectly normal. And listen, without even getting into the whole JFK thing, he's clearly suggesting, like, I don't know, the government took out this mentor, or this is part of a conspiracy, or maybe who we should look into this. It couldn't just be a pickleball fall. And I'm like, or maybe it really is just a pickleball fall, because also like this guy, are they even going to attempt to explain a connection between this guy and whatever reason anyone would want to take out Charlie Kirk and therefore people who knew him? It's like, just because he was his mentor, anything he could have said about Charlie over the last year. He's had ample time to. What is this, like a staged pickleball death? Did they just pay off all these people to say they saw him fall in a pickleball accident? The family is just all, being bullied by the CIA or something. It doesn't even make sense at face value. They don't bother to explain it. They just throw out the crumbs to kind of the tinfoil hat brigade, and they know that they'll get significant engagement from it. And I just think that's like an irresponsible way to use your platform. I don't know, especially when you have so many followers. Anyway, and on a topic too, where people are spreading and believing lots of crazy conspiracies. So the idea that people will glom onto this is not far-fetched remotely when they're glomming onto all the Candace Owens stuff and all the other stuff. So in that context, especially, it's irresponsible to do this. More from the Mediaite article here. Webb, a renowned cheerleading executive who was considered an early mentor to Kirk, passed away last Thursday after falling and sustaining a severe head injury while playing pickleball 2 weeks earlier. Webb was hospitalized following the accident, and his family later made the decision to remove him from life support, reported Cheer Daily. Turning Point USA, the organization founded by the late Kirk and now led by his widow, Erica Kirk, celebrated Webb in a nearly 10-minute long video posted on X last Friday. Here's a tweet from Turning Point USA. In memory of Jeff Webb, a visionary who helped shape generations of young leaders and believed deeply in the power of community and country. A dear friend to Turning Point USA and Charlie, he will be greatly missed. So I'm sorry, I just feel like the most obvious explanation here is actually not far-fetched at all, and there's literally zero reason to be pushing or promoting a conspiracy theory, Cenk, other than maybe engagement and then attention. I don't know, because I don't really understand it as well, because Cenk, and I always love his debate style, but he already gets plenty of attention and makes plenty of headlines, and he's an interesting guy in a lot of ways. So it's like, what is the point of this? And why double down on it? Because I've seen him double down in tweets, and he's saying, like, I'm just asking questions. This is what journalists are supposed to do, not just repeat whatever the government says. And it's like, it's not the government saying this happened. It's his family and the people that were there. Like, actually, it's not journalists' job it is their job to interrogate the powerful and question official explanations of events, but only like when there's some reason to, and not to like insinuate something else when there's literally no basis of that. That's, I think, using your platform in a harmful way that's going to bring pain to the family and cause them anxiety and stress. Anyway, a couple people pushed back on this, and it was interesting kind of the ideological breadth of the pushback to Cenk for this post. Here's a reporter from Semaphore, Josh Billinson. He wrote on X, I think it's much more likely that a guy in his 70s would die in a freak pickleball accident. Parenthetical, pickleball-related ER visits are in the thousands annually now than some nefarious actor deciding to use pickleball as cover for a secret assassination. Meanwhile, the Blaze TV and far-right commentator John Doyle wrote, a 74-year-old man fell and hit his head on the pavement. Everyone saw it. It is indeed a strange way to go, but what you're alluding to is BS, meant to further piss on Kirk's legacy by redirecting all blame away from the left, which of course squares with you being a leftist. I don't know. That feels a little bit harsh as to Cenk's motivations. I guess I don't know that he's trying to do this to suggest that the left wasn't responsible, but also the left wasn't responsible for killing Charlie Kirk. An individual was, and anyone who supports it, that's horrible on the left, but you can't collectivize the blame like that. At least I certainly wouldn't. But I do agree with the first point made in this tweet, which is just that an elderly man fell and hit his head. People witnessed it. There's just no reason. And I feel like it's a sign of the times that anyone would even go there on this, and that people would be so quick to eat it up, because he's not the only one. And I haven't seen her do it yet, but I wonder if Candace will go there or we'll talk about this and kind of just ask questions about it. Jack Pasibiak, who's of course affiliated, he's a right-wing influencer and affiliated with Turning Point USA, he wrote on X, Cenk, it was an accident. You really don't need to do this. Jeff was a friend, and this is a tragedy. I agree, and I just think everybody needs to log off a little bit and maybe it's good to be skeptical. It's good to be open-minded, but I always say this, you want to be a little bit open-minded, but you don't want to be so open-minded that your brain falls out. And I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people who go down rabbit holes and start, especially on Twitter where this stuff is rewarded. It's like we really should keep that impulse in check. And also, like, journalists and commentators and pundits, and I might be a hypocrite because I still do it a little bit, should really tweet less. And maybe just if you, because I honestly think if Cenk had sat down, thought about this, and decided to cover it in a story on the Young Turks in a segment, I think the resulting discourse or statement that he would have made probably would have been exponentially more reasonable and less crazy and irresponsible than just the quick tweet he fired off. And just generally speaking, never tweet is advice I've been given and have yet to take, but I can acknowledge at least that it's good advice. I don't know. What do you guys think of this latest Charlie Kirk conspiracy theory? Unfortunately, I think we're only going to get more and more of this kind of thing until people, maybe some sort of momentum will shift and people will be sick of it. But right now, it's very much the moment. And I think that's unfortunate. But that's just my take. You guys will have to let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if you haven't yet.